Microsoft 365 community series that started last week. And I would like to use this opportunity to thank all those who attended the last session. I believe it was a great one, and we learned a lot. I also use this opportunity to thank the speaker, the moderator for last week, and then I know because I was there that justice was done to the topic. Yeah. So today we are continuing the series. This is part 2 of the series, and then I would like to introduce the moderator, which is myself. Yeah. My name is Joshua Adigun. I am a project manager, a backend developer using Django. I have a lot of skills actually. Yeah, I have skills with modern workspace, Microsoft 365, cloud computing, everything about it. And then I'm a certified Microsoft trainer. I'm organized, dependable, very successful at managing a lot of projects. Like I already said earlier, I'm a project manager. I've managed a lot of projects, even with the Lagos state government, and there are some even ongoing actually. So yes, with multiple priorities and a very good attitude towards work. My work ethics is top notch, and then my management skill, my time management skill, my problem solving skill, my research skills, my technical skills are also up to date. At the moment, I work as a freelancer for multiple companies, and I also work as a technical consultant for ASECO Software Nigeria. It's a part of the ASECO group here in Nigeria. So that's about me. Thank you for having me on this session. Thank you so much. I would like to welcome the next person on board. Um, or briefly talk about the speakers. We have Deji Omitola. He would be the one speaking to us today, alongside Olajumoke Toriola, who would be speaking on career opportunities and understanding certifications part in Microsoft 365. Yeah, and Omitola is someone I know very well. Yeah, we started the Microsoft 365 journey together. He's very hardworking. He has positive attitude towards work. Yeah, but like I said, we started the Microsoft 365 journey together. We worked in the same company, and then he's someone that you can really rely on in the Microsoft 365 space. Um, and at the moment, he's working as assistant admin at Kasi Cloud. He's also a certified Microsoft trainer. Yeah. Um, at Kasi Cloud is responsible for overseeing and managing enterprise applications such as the Microsoft 365 series we are into at the moment, Azure Active Directory, and a lot of other things around Microsoft 365, talking about security, talking about compliance, talking about a little bit of Active Directory, which is the on-premise Exchange server. And then he also worked previously as a technical lead. Yeah, we worked previously as technical leads together, where when we were working at Tech Expert, right? We led a lot of teams from ground zero to up to the top, right? And then where we supported a lot of engineers from zero knowledge of Microsoft 365 to them becoming technical leads, and then them becoming freelancers all over the world. Yeah, and he's also a mentor. Um, with very good skills around cloud computing, especially Microsoft 365, and then system administration. So also Deji has a great understanding of the Office 365 product. So you would hear me or any of the speakers mention Office 365 and Microsoft 365, right? So please take note of those, right? So Deji has a great understanding of Microsoft 365 or Office 365 productivity tools, yeah, tools like or technologies like Microsoft Exchange Online, Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Azure Active Directory Connect. That's a tool that connects the on-premise to the cloud. Yeah, scripting with PowerShell, and then a lot around the Active Directory. That's the on-premise Exchange Online. So it's good to have you here, Deji. Welcome on board. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation to be in this session. Yeah. So I would be introducing our very own Mama, the mother of the MCT community. Yeah, Olajumoke Toriola. You're welcome, Ma. She's also a Microsoft certified trainer. Yes, she's an MVP. That's my most valuable personality or person in Microsoft. So it's not a child's play. It's not something of today, right? And she's also the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of Hashem Limited. So we are happy to have you here. So guys, please put in your best, learn as much as you want, and be very attentive, right? Because we have the Chief Technology Officer here at Hashem, and then when you do well, right, something good is definitely waiting for you. Yeah. So she is the Chief Technology Officer of Hashem with over 18 years of progressive work experiences, right, in information technology. You know, there is a difference between you having 18 years experience and then 18 years of progressive work experience, right? So she has seen it all. She has been there, and then she's here to speak to us. So it's a privilege for us to have her on board and for her to speak to us. So guys, please be very attentive. Be 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 because we have someone at the top, at the hem of the industry here to speak with us. And then she's fondly called MJ, right? So you can always call her MJ, like Michael Jackson. Yeah, and then she has the superior expertise in developing, implementing, and supporting complex infrastructures, right? So first, from the idea conception to developing the idea into something good, implementing that solution that was developed, and then supporting those infrastructures or the solutions that was developed. So like I already said earlier, it's a progressive work experience for the last a decade and almost 2 decades now, right? And then she has top-notch technical experience, technical solutions experience in the industry. She's, like I said earlier, she's a Microsoft certified trainer and a most valuable professional in the Microsoft 365 world, Microsoft 365 apps and services, award category, and then she's also a community leader. That's why we have this community now, right? That that is kick-starting or restarting or reviving to carry along everyone, because everything now is moving to the cloud. So everyone needs to be involved, right? And she's a community leader, someone that is involved in the grassroots, right? And then she's also the co-founder of Textile. Tech. And so before we begin the session today, I would like us to have um, to abreast ourselves, right? Ourselves with the house rules. Yeah, there are rules that are in place during the session so that we can gain maximally while this session is ongoing. So number one rule, right? This session, please note that this session will be recorded or is recorded, being recorded at the moment, and then the recordings will be made or would be made available for future viewing. So we have a channel, a YouTube channel where we post all this, so you can, excuse me, you can go there, subscribe, and keep yourself up to date with all our events. And then you can also go back there to re-listen to a lot of topics that has been discussed. Yeah, yeah, you can go back there to do that. And then please, while we are on this session, please and please mute your mics when you're not speaking. Mute your mics when you are not speaking. And please do not just unmute your mic to speak. You need to raise up your hand and then you wait until you are called upon to speak before you speak. It's very, very important, right? So let's take note of that. And then please, for during the sessions, right, you can pen down your questions and then which would be attended to during the Q&A sessions. And please, like I said, follow us on Twitter at NGM365 and then subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah, the URL is here. And then we also value your feedback, right? So feedbacks are good to know how we did on the session and how we can improve. So it's very, very important you also drop your feedback. Um, your honest feedback. Don't just go there and drop whatever you like. Thank you. And then, okay, so at this point, thank you for having me. At this point, I would be introducing the first speaker for the day, Deji Omitola. Over to you, Deji. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Joshua. Thank you, everyone. Can you confirm if you can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear you, Deji.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, good day, wherever you're joining from. It's a very great privilege to be among great minds, people who are curious about learning Microsoft 365 and also, getting familiar with cloud concepts. It's a very great privilege to be among you all. And without wasting much of our time again, I'm just going to go straight to the point, the reason why we're here today. And I am have been asked to talk about career opportunities and understanding certification paths in Microsoft 365. So there are two things actually. We have career opportunities, and then we have certification paths in Microsoft 365. So if I take it one after the other or one at a time, I can we can talk about the career opportunities, which is actually enormous. If we start to talk about the career opportunities now, trust me, 1 hour for this session might not be enough. And then we have the certification part. I can always run through certification parts within the next couple of minutes, and we can cover down. But for the career opportunities, trust me, it is a whole lot. It is a whole lot. And I know very well that the reason why we're actually taking this session today is because of the questions that came up last week. Some people are not sure what path to follow. Some are confused. Microsoft 365 is a very big enterprise application. It's a very big software. Trust me. Even as an expert, I will tell you that you would probably not be 100% technical about all of the tools around Microsoft 365. You get what I'm saying? So there are a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of career opportunities. If I'm going to start by the fact that the world is moving into a full cloud environment. 2020 in 2020, COVID-19 taught us lessons, whereby industries or companies that rely solely on their on-premise infrastructure or hosting their softwares in their office, at the time whereby they could not work. So they were stuck, and a lot of business actually went down. A lot of people went out of business at that particular time because they could not perform their duties. They could not do their day-to-day activities. So that is one thing to note, because um, people are now beginning to see the importance of cloud. People are now beginning to move into cloud technologies. People are now seeing the importance. People are envisaging that, okay, what if we have a situation like COVID again? We don't pray such happens. What if you have a situation whereby you cannot make yourself available at work, and then you need to work? Do you understand what I'm saying? So um, we are another major thing here is in Nigeria, for instance. I know Nigeria is a country whereby we're not there yet in terms of cloud infrastructure or in terms of using software as a service like Microsoft 365. I have worked as a Microsoft technical support engineer, and I worked with users in America. I see people that are they own a small and medium scale business, a two-man business, a business whereby you just have 3 employees, and they make use of Microsoft 365. But in Nigeria, only large scale organization make use of these softwares. So that is to tell you that not everybody here in Nigeria understand the benefits or is already using Microsoft 365. And I can tell you for a fact that in the coming years, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, a lot of people are going to be moving into cloud. So it is opportunity for people that start to learn these tools, this service right now, because there's going to be more and more opportunities in that line. There's going to be more and more opportunities in that line. And also, I know very much that during COVID, when companies are downsizing and a lot of people cannot cope again, Microsoft as an organization recorded, high profit, more than they have ever actually recorded. So that is also to tell you that people are moving into cloud. So it is the best time actually to plug in and then to connect to this opportunity, to learn this opportunity, because as people go in, they will need people that will support them. They will need people that will teach them how to use these things. They will need people they can run to if things are not working as it should. You understand? Now, leaving that aside, when we talk, we can also I can also tell you that one of the reasons why there are a lot of opportunities in Microsoft 365 is that um, the service, the software as a whole is very huge. I already mentioned that earlier. The service is very huge, and no wonder why Microsoft decided to even share responsibilities, and roles to what you can do. Because I'm very sure Microsoft already knows that, oh, this can be too cumbersome for someone to handle. So that is why you have Exchange administrator, you have the SharePoint administrator, you have a user administrator, you have security administrator, you have Teams administrator. So you don't even have to know everything in Microsoft 365. As I speak to you, I'm an Exchange Online specialist, but I still have knowledge of every other software within Microsoft 365. If I have issues with Microsoft Teams, I can still deal with it because I have the general idea and I understand the concept of Microsoft 365. So If you're wondering that, oh, how am I going to cope? How am I going to, where do I start from? Where do I begin? You know, you can see what interests you and then find that within Microsoft 365. For instance, if you're someone that is interested in cybersecurity, you can actually focus on security aspect of Microsoft 365, whereby you talk about DLPs, you talk about multi-factor authentication, manage identity and access to Office 365. If you're someone that has already, that has some kind of interest in mailbox or migration, you can do something with Exchange Online. So trust me, there are lots and lots of opportunities with Microsoft 365. Now, because with the part I'm actually going to focus more, I know MJ is still going to come back to talk about the opportunities with Microsoft 5. I want to concentrate more on the certification part. I want to concentrate more on the certification parts of Microsoft 5. Now, there are different kind of certifications, you know. Just like one of my mentor, he told me one time that, oh, am I very good at Azure? I told him, oh, I'm good in Azure identity. But Azure is a different tool on its own. I don't want to go into that. But Azure is very big. So he told me that, okay, well, I know you're not very good in this part, but if you can get the certification on this so tool, you know, I'm going to employ you and I'm going to teach you how to use that tool. So certification is also very important, trust me, because it is a way to show that you have an idea. It is the first thing that maybe an employer is going to look out for before they actually call you to actually validate what you know. So certification is a way to actually validate your skills, to say, one, I understand this thing, I know it, I have worked with it before, I have an idea of this thing, right? And another thing is certification helps you to do is it helps you to be on top of the game. So I will quickly run through some of the certifications that we have in Microsoft 365. And then I tag the session Pro to 365 Expert. Pro to 365 Expert. Pro to 365 Expert. Hold on. I want to share my screen. Okay. So Microsoft 365 as a whole, it's very huge, it's very big, like we already know. And there is a Microsoft 365 Enterprise Administrator Expert, which is actually the highest level of certification in Microsoft, right? It is in Microsoft 365, sorry. Is the highest level certification you can get with Microsoft 365. But before then, you cannot just jump here. You need to go through some other area of some major kind of certification. Um, the first to start with is the Microsoft 365 Certified Fundamentals, which is MS 900. MS 900 is the first, I believe everyone on this call who is actually interested in learning Microsoft 365 should have this certification. It's a fundamental certification. You don't have to have an in-depth knowledge about it. All you just need to do, it helps you to demonstrate that you have an understanding of Microsoft 365, you understand cloud concepts in general. You know that it is a software as a service, just like we learned last week. You understand the pricing and support system of Microsoft. You understand all the services. You know there is Teams, you know there's SharePoint, all of that. So, as a matter of fact, everyone on this call who is interested in learning Microsoft 365, I think should dive in or should actually get satisfied in MS 900. And secondly, another major certification. Okay, I should mention that there are three types of certification. I already mentioned the expert, which is a 3-star certification. There is an intermediate, which is a 2-star certification, and there is a fundamental, also the beginner level, which is a 1-star certification. So the one certification is an example is MS 900. The expert is a 3-star certification, which is I said is the highest. But you cannot just get there. You need a couple of certifications combined together to achieve that. Right now, the intermediate certification, which is like the one that validates your skills in each of these tools or each of these services that Microsoft 365 renders, like Teams administration, Exchange online administration, you know, um, SharePoint administration, then security administration. All of these are intermediate certification. Now, let me just quickly touch on each of them. As a 365, that's messaging administrator, which is um, MS203, MS203, MS203 as a it helps you to demonstrate that you understand a secure messaging environment, that if you're interested to be if you're an exchange online administrator, a way to validate that is to have MS200. You understand the secure messaging environment because you'll be dealing with mail flow, you'll be dealing with hybrid configuration of exchange online with exchange on premises. You'll be dealing with mailbox migration from on premises to the cloud. So that is what MS203 deals with. Another one is another very important one is MS500, which is security administrator. I remember vividly that my current role, when I got the advert for the job, one of the criteria was certified security administrator, M365 security administrator. So all of these things, they are skills that is required outside there. But if you don't have them, there's no way you're going to show yourself to the world, or there's no way you're even going to get the opportunity to express what you know. So MS500 is security administrator. It's an exam that you take that helps you to demonstrate that you can implement and manage identity and access. That way we talk about MFAs, two-factor authentication. You can manage threat protection, the Microsoft 365 Defender. You understand information protection, like email encryption, encryption of OneDrive files, and all of that. That is if you're interested in security administration. And then I have Microsoft Teams Administrator, which is MS700. It's a certification you get if you're interested in you managing chats, meetings, calls, and all of that. It's also a certification you get that shows that you can plan and configure a Microsoft Teams environment. And then finally, there is MS 100 and MS 101, which is enterprise, is a role to enterprise administrator. So if you're going to get certified as a 365 expert, you actually need to get um, one of you actually need to get one of these certification at the back, the one behind. You can see my screen. Either a security administrator or a messaging administrator or a Teams administrator or identity and access administrator. You should get one of it, and then you get both of this Microsoft 365 identity and access, identity and services, rather, Microsoft 365 mobility and security. 365 identity and services, it shows that you can manage and deploy Microsoft 365 tenants. You can plan and manage identity and roles. That is a certification that shows that you understand that part. And mobility and service and security deals more with the Intune, the device management of Microsoft 365 devices that actually use these services, right? So if you get one of this and then you have both of these, then you are a Microsoft 365 expert. So aside this 3-star, there are other expert certification that you get that is categorized under the experts, not just because some of it you might not even see 3-star, but they are categorized as experts. One of it is Exchange Online Support Specialist, right? Is an advanced certification on Exchange Online. Exchange Online Support Specialist. I know there's a Teams Online Support Specialist also. That is the one that satisfies that you can actually support users as a Teams person, right? So I'm going to stop here for now. I'm going to step here for now, and then uh, I know some of us might have some questions, So maybe after the second session, then we can come back to um, questions and answer. So Joshua, you can take it off from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Deji. That was a wonderful session. Guys, I hope you heard everything he said. The pathway to certifications, the necessary steps you need to take to be certified by Microsoft, yeah. And then everything you need has been said. Yeah, thank you so much, DG. So, okay, thank you so much, DG, for that. So next, guys, before we take your questions, right, we would like our mama in the house to speak to us, so you will hear more, and then she can wet she can I want her to tell us everything, right, before we ask our questions. So before she maybe before the end, your questions should be answered. So welcome on board, MJ. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deji, for that informative session. It was actually very, I think we got a lot of information. Once again, can you all hear me before I go on?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Yes, we can.
All right,
Yes, we
that's
can hear
great.
you.
So just let me just go ahead and share my screen. I know it's a lot to take in today, and one of the things I think DJ has been able to do is to actually help us to break down the different kind of certification. Before now, like he said, Microsoft used to have certification in different levels, but now we have it more like fundamental and role based, which means for specific roles that you want to go for, then you are actually going to be targeting your certification towards that roles. And just like you have under that role base, which he said, you have the associate, and then you have the expert, and then you now have the specialized, the specialty, so to say, and then which is one of the things he did mention. But before I go into my session, I think one of the things I just want to emphasize on is the benefits you gain when you do all of this certification. Yes, certification is actually for it to validate your skill set in saying that you can deliver on that particular job that you've given. Believe me, these days a lot of people are not looking at probably, and I'm also of that school of thought where I'm not also looking at graduates again, saying you have the graduates, you are a graduate and you've come out with the big what they call it from school, and you came out with a very good grades from school. But sometimes the grades are good, but most importantly, if I'm sitting in an interview session with anyone, the first thing I will be looking at is that do you have the necessary skill set for the job we're trying to hire you for? And then that is very important. So most times these days, people are not looking at just your grades. They're looking at that certification, and do you have that skill set? Yes, you said, tell me you have the skill set which I can put into practical use. However, it becomes an advantage for you when you have that level of certification to validate that skill set. So I know that Deji has done a bit of a lot of, let me not say the word bit because he actually did justice to the topic, but then I'll just buttress on what he has said by saying some of the benefits that you get from being certified starts from one, um sorry, start from you having a better career prospect. Now you have this competitive advantage when it comes to being certified or being having that certification to show your skill set. I mean, people look at you and said, "Oh, you've gained this and all of that." So they put it gives you in that position. Another thing is that actually allows you to grow your knowledge and skills also, because when you prepare for exams, really, you are actually exposing the knowledge more to what you think you know. So you want to there are some of these skills when you're preparing for it, you have to do what also do the practical aspects. I mean, set up a lab and all of that. So you're actually growing your own knowledge and skills, and then the professional edge which you have also is there, because like I said, if I'm interviewing 4 people and I have one with good grades from school and I have one with a lesser grade than that person, but when I put him into the practical aspect, asking him the practical aspect of the work he knows, I will I will consider him even than that person that has that good grade. Then if I have a third person in the room and that third person has the same grade as the second person, has the same practical thing as the second person, but now has gone the extra mile of having a form of certification, I will compare him. I mean, I will consider him more than the 2 set of people. So those are the things you need to know when you're going for interview and all of that, because how you can put yourself at a competitive advantage. Now, another thing is that it also establishes your professional credibility, which means that people can say, yes, this person is a professional. Somebody can say, oh, this is a subject matter expert in that thing that he's saying. Please, can we mute?
Guys, mute our mics.
All right, I know we're gonna have this. This is always okay. So, and then it's established your professional credibility, like I said, and then you get another thing is that it gets you recognized and unlock a lot of career opportunities for you. So believe me, don't joke about certification. And what Microsoft is doing nowadays is that they've even made it a lot simpler, that you can get certified, just attending some form of boot camp or a cloud skill challenge. You can get certified for it. Another thing is I don't want to promise, but I'm looking at a program where we can run the cloud skill challenge from March 1st to March 30, and then people can get free vouchers for exam. So I'm actually talking with someone in Microsoft's the MVP community around that, so that we can also get that benefit. But don't take me for the word. I want it to be something that happens and let us, that I don't let people come and call me now, MJ, please, where is it? Where is it? So lastly, you get relevant. You're relevant. You're relevant in the industry, you're relevant at your place of work. It boosts your productivity, and then it also enables the organization to accomplish more, especially if you're such that is working for an organization. So or even a partner learning center like the company I'm working for, Ashem. It gets you more relevant. It positions you, and finally, who doesn't want an increase in salary? Yes, for my kind of environment, if your 6-month probation in Ashem, you have to be certified at least with one certification before within your probation period. So the first 3 months you have to have done at least one certification, which gives you an edge, and then that speaks to after that probation that you can get a salary increase. So sometimes these are some of the things that you need to bear in mind why you should need to get certified. And lastly, a competitive advantage. So to the real agenda of today, I just hope that I've been able to have a little bit of icing on what Deji has spoken. But all of those beautiful things that we have spoken, myself and Deji, in the past few minutes will only be relevant if you as a person sits and understand the concepts that enables you to be able to grow a good career path. And so, to my own topic today, I know Joshua has done a wonderful introduction about me, so I will not go ahead and do any introduction, but I'll just go straight to to my agenda. First, we're going to be looking at what are career goals. A lot of us today, it is okay to be honest if you do not have one defined already. Hopefully, after this session, you would have been able to and go informed with something that can say, oh, I can now define what my career goals are. So it is okay if you do not have, and it is okay if you have. Probably there are a few things that you feel that, okay, maybe the things we're going to discuss here will help you to now put more information into the career goals you've already set. Now, we're not going to, well, after we look at what our career goals, we're going to be looking at goal settings. We're going to be looking at career growth versus career development. What's the difference between the two really? Are they the same thing or am I missing something? Then I can be able to actually identify, am I at a stage in my career where I have a career growth or I'm actually undergoing a career development? Then we can look at what the career SMART goals are under the SMART framework, and also career goals with the SWOT framework. And then I'll leave you with some tips and tricks for you to be able to have a good career goal defined for yourself. So without wasting much of our time, let's talk about what are career goals. Now, I used to tell some people that the only thing standing between you and making your career vision a reality is the ability for you to translate it into what a tangible goals. So before you can tell yourself that, oh, I have this career vision. I want to be this in the next few months. I want to be this in the next 1 year. I want to be this in the next 5 years. It is actually the fact that if you can be able to translate that vision into a reality by doing what? By making it a tangible goals. So which takes me to what are career goals? Career goals are the targets you set for yourself for achieving what you want in your career. Simply, that is just it. Not too much word to sugarcoat it. Simply, that is what career goals is. And then the success, like I said, to achieving your career goals is what? Setting a target. You are not going to say, oh, I want to be a messaging administrator or an M365 expert in the next 2 years without setting a target for yourself. My dear, you're actually wasting your time. The truth about it is that you have to be, we talk a lot about this word. This phrase has become something that has been so common with us, especially with the Gen Z, being intentional, being this and all of that. The truth about it is that if you are not intentional about setting targets for your career goals, there is no way you can achieve it. And then the first thing you want to do is to break down the goals into, are these goals actually a short-term or a long-term career goals for me? Those are the first thing you need to break it down into. And then with that, you can now be able to do what? Consider the milestones or the approach that you will use in achieving it. And like I said, if you do not have a goal setting before, no problem. If you don't have one already defined, no problem. But, hopefully after this session, at the end of this session, someone will be going home armed and then refreshed in their thinking that, okay, I think I have a path now I can decide on. Now, the first thing you want to do with it is what you want to identify. And in identifying, what you're actually doing is that you're identifying what is most important to you. Setting a career goal or having a goal setting is not all about taking so much upon yourself, because the temptation of saying that I want to be this, I want to do security, I want to do messaging, I want to do Teams, I want to do SharePoint. No, slow down. Identify what is most important to you and determine how much effort you can put into realizing it. One of the things you want to do is, which we will go through later on, is to identify your strength. When you identify your strength, or when you identify maybe a particular subject you're reading or a particular topic you are reading in the M365 parts, maybe when I take this topic, oh, I get excited, I don't want to leave it. Then you see where you're interested. Then you can build on it. Then after you've identified, you transition into what refers to as what? Tactics. Here is where you are actually what? Accountable. So what you do here is where you consider what do you need to do to make things happen, and then do what? Stay accountable. This is the place where you start drawing up strategies, you start drawing up approaches or programs or things you need to be able to be successful in saying that targets that you have set for yourself, you can make it a reality. And finally, you want to do what? You just don't want to stop at creating some goals. You just don't want to say you want to develop strategies for it. The next thing you want to do is for you to be able to what? To sustain it. And how do you do that? You form habits around it. So you form an habit out of your goals, so they become actually part of you. And most times what people say is that sustainability refers to the ability to maintain or to support a process continuously over a time. So that is what you want to do. I am good today when I find that at any time I'm working, when I started my career journey, I started with first network engineering. I went to, as I finished school, I went to Aptech Street, where you were taught the basis of networking. I love it, but then I decided to go straight into messaging. Then if you are anybody doing Microsoft Exchange, actually you are very hot, because it means it is actually a very tough subject or a tough career that people don't go into. But I enjoy the way I have complexity around the solution, and then in the troubleshooting, and then that makes me to develop it. So in fact, it becomes a time that I see you will learn the topic or the subject to a place that you find that the bond you have you formed with your career path, it becomes that as if you have a conversation with it. I mean, I don't know how best to explain. I might be called somewhere now and say, oh, they have like a messaging or an exchange problem. And then while I'm looking at this, as if the thing is, okay, oh, no, go here. I think this is where, I think we're communicating. So you get to that place where it forms really a part of you. You know, you don't struggle to know where a problem is. But like I said, it starts with the journey, which is for me, for every one of us that are on this call, I believe that that journey is what we have started with. So, but before we go forward, let's look at the difference between what career growth and versus career development. Because the whole essence of you setting a goal, of having a goal setting for your career in the first place, is because you want to achieve two things. You want to achieve either a career growth, or you want to achieve a career development, or maybe you even want to achieve both. But then let's understand what is the difference between the two of them. The first thing we'll be looking at is career growth. So career growth is a process of what? Climbing the career ladder, which most of us often attain through promotion. So I give an example. You came in as a trainee into an environment, into a work environment. You were a trainee. From being a trainee, you move up to be what? A technical support engineer. From being a technical support engineer, you became a technical lead. From being a technical lead, you became the head of the department. I'm just using mine as an example. From there, you became a CTO. Those are what career growth. I attain all of that through promotion. But on the other hand, career development is an ongoing process, which means it involves you to daily be what? To daily improve on yourself. And it involves a lot of what? A self-awareness. It means that you want to have a retrospect with yourself every now and then, a form of retrospection with yourself every now and then, to say, okay, now I have achieved this goal. I've achieved this growth. or this promotion as a technical support engineer? Are there things in technical support engineer that I need to be doing or I am not good at today that I need to improve on, and then to make myself more relevant in the industry? So those are the things you will need to define for yourself. Again, you look at career development is short term, while the growth is the big picture. So the example I gave earlier, I'm a trainee today, and then I looked at myself. My target is to say, I want to get the promotion of becoming a technical support engineer. That means everything that requires me to develop within that short space that I have for me to be able to attain that technical support engineer is actually short term for that period, which means, do I have to take in more certification? Do I have to take more? Do I have to prepare more in terms of reading and all of that, maybe to be able to function very well in the position where I am right now? It's actually short term. But the growth is actually, oh, I look at myself in 5 years' time, I should be the head of this department. I look at myself in 5 years' time, I should be a solution architect, maybe in Microsoft Exchange Online. I should be a solution architect in modern workplace. Those are growths you're looking at. You're actually projecting your growth. And again, you want to see that growth is something you can measure, but whereas development is more about quality. And I used to say to people, sometimes you can even have somebody, you've gone to organization, you have people as head of IT, and then you do not see any quality around it. The truth about it is that the head of IT is just a position title with no content inside. So most times I tell people that you have to make sure that you have a solid career growth and development. Both are intertwined, and you have to make sure that as a person, the two of them, you are pursuing it throughout your career growth, your career journey at every time. And lastly, the growth is what and where I want to be. What do I want to be? Where do I see myself? Whereas the development is, how do I become this? How do I become what I want to be, or how do I get to where I want to get to? So in a way, I feel that would have given us a context about all of this discussion that we're looking at, so that if when you leave this place today, you would have said, oh, you're armed with this information for you to be able to say, oh, I think now, based on what Deji have said, I think I'm more into being the security expert, or I want to focus on the messaging aspect, or I want to focus on the SharePoint alone, or I want to focus on things like security, which has to do with Intune and all of that. So that will help you. So moving on. Growth is achieved in the long term. I've already said it, and development is ongoing. But let's start with looking at these 6 stages of career development. Now, I took this from an online, and that's why I put the link under it, but I'm just going to break it down as easy as possible. Now, the 6 stages of career development starts with being a follower. Now, this is typically associated with your first job or internship out of college, which a lot of us falls into. As a follower, you are actually what action-oriented and task-focused, as you are carrying out what others will tell you to do. In this stage, really, you will never lead because you don't know how to follow someone yet. And sadly, with all due respect, I see a lot of us these days that do not want to go through this process. We just want to go to stage 6 immediately. And hopefully, I like to tell people that following the process in life actually helps you to build character along the way that can sustain you through your career journey. It is actually very, very important. And when I'm talking, I like to always on my motherly's art. So imagine that I'm speaking to, I normally try to put on my mother's art and speak to us, especially we the Gen Z, about how it is people applaud me a lot yesterday, because yesterday was my work anniversary. And some people that have mentored my mentees, when I look at them and the paths they have grown and the way they have done, I'm actually very proud, because there is always a difference. There is that quality, there is that character, there is that quality that they have at the end of the day through following the right path and then not trying to rush through the ladder is always very important. Now, the stage two, let's move on, is where you become a collaborator. At this stage, you begin to work closely with others. So this is where you are operating from your technical skills set. You will develop, this is actually where you develop a valuable people skills, because now you have peers in your teams, you want to work with them. This is a place where being from being an internship, you have now been moved to, okay, now this is the team, you're under this team, start working with it. You get. Then the stage three of your career development will be what? The instructor stage. So at the instructor stage, at first you can be a team leader. You are actually now the skill set. And what is important is that I want you to see the progression. The progression is that at the instructor stage, you are actually now leveraging on the people skills you learned when you were a collaborator to be able now to manage people. Reason why? Because at this stage, you are now what? A team lead. So you have more people comprised in your team, not just one. And then the key here is whether you can effectively instruct people on what needs to be done instead of being the one to do it. So this is a place where people test your team leadership. They test your people management, your people skills, how do you, your conflict resolution, and all of that. But believe me, like I said, if you do not learn from stage one very well how to follow, it will be difficult for you when you get into this stage three, really, for you to be able to know how to lead. Now, moving forward, you go to the place where you are a manager. At the manager stage, you have built, you have more than a small team. You have a larger team, really. Now you have a larger team, but they are now with a focused goals and objective. So in your position, you will be doing more of motivating your direct reports to learn how to manage them by giving them the objectives and goal. It's like you're saying that this is the objective for this unit, the objective for this department, and I want you all to key into this objective. We're going to be able to achieve so in this level of time. This is the approach we want to do it. This is our focus area. No, you are now defining, you are more of being goal oriented, and that is what you're looking at. So you can be in charge of saying that a business restructuring, as example, as a manager, to manage all of that, or to come up with an initiative that is going to be very helpful. So you are at that managerial post. Then the next thing would be the next stage, which is the stage 5, would be the influencer stage. Now, this is where things really get interesting. At this stage, you've transitioned from directly managing a team to influencing people. You will hear, even when it is not things that has to do with your department, this is where you can see it as at an executive table. You will be hearing people say that, oh, what's your thought on this? MJ, even though it doesn't have anything to do with specifically your department, you influence decision on a broader level, on a level where people are asking you, oh, what do you think? What do you think this vision will be in this area and all of that? So you are influencing even people in other departments. There can be an issue in one department, and then they are saying, oh, please, let's sort out for the expertise of MJ, let her come onto the board, and then let her advice on this. That is when you are an influencer. So you are not only managing or contributing to just people within your unit, but now you're extending your influence across other units. So hopefully, like I said, at the end of this, you will know where you stand, and then you will work towards where you want to be in all of this stage of career development. And lastly is the leader. As a leader, what you look at, this is the final stage where you spend much of your time empowering and inspiring people. So this is where we inspire. This is where we tell people what to do. You tell them what to think about, really. And then maybe the priority here is motivation. You want to motivate people so that they can do and become more than what they thought possible. So this is the stage where in a career development that you have. So, but how do we do all of these? Well, all of these are beautiful. They're beautifully said and all of that. The question that will come to mind is, MJ, you've said all of these, but how do I get really to it? And then, so I'm just going to quickly show us on how to get to it. So the first thing, every day or every year, I come up with this. You have to develop what is called a SMART goal. And I'll tell you why you have an ER at the back, which is a smarter goal. Now, for you to have a sustainable career journey, you have to have a SMART goal defined around each of your career development and growth. First, you have to ensure that your goals or the goals you're looking at in your career goals are what? Specific.
MJ, I think you're muted.
You are muted, though. We can't hear you. Huh?
What about now?
Yes, it's fine.
Hello. Okay.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Was I muted the past few minutes or it's just
Yeah.
now?
No, few minutes
No,
ago
I
you
think
were.
just
now, just like
Okay, when I
30
was
seconds.
in this
seconds.
class, I just
Yeah.
wanted to be sure that, yes, I think somebody mistakenly muted me thinking I was the one that yawned. So I think somebody made a sound and then, all right. Okay, so let's talk about the SMART goals. The SMART goals really talk about, stands for what? Being specific, measurable, achievable. It is important that when we're building a career goals, it is well defined, it is clear, it is not, and it is unambiguous. It is not a goal that is not specific. So you are actually defining your goal towards a target. And again, you want to make sure that whatever career goals you're building is actually what's measurable. It is with specific criteria that you measure the progress towards the accomplishment of that goal. And that moves and takes us now to, let's make sure that your career goal is actually what? Achievable, that it is not impossible to achieve. Don't go and build up a career goal that it is something that you yourself, like what we normally do at the end of the year that we call New Year resolution. You do one New Year resolution before even that day ends, you have already broken it. So it is not something that is, which takes me to the next one, is not realistic. You cannot sustain it. So your career goal must be within reach, it must be realistic, and it must be very important, relevant to your life purpose. It should be something that is relevant to what your life purpose is. So for me, when I was growing up, a lot of people determined a lot of things I want to do. I wanted to become a medical doctor, but it wasn't JAMB really, because I had a cutoff mark of just a mark away from what the cutoff mark is. And then I got to the school. There was this lady when I was in secondary school that I know I used to be better than her in the class. And then she was going to read medicine also, and she was qualified. And then they told me, because just one mark away from the cutoff mark, that I wasn't qualified, so they wanted to give me microbiology. I was looking at it, I said, okay, yes, I'll do microbiology for the first year. Probably maybe I cross over. But when I saw the lady on the line for medicine, and I asked her what was her cutoff mark, and her cutoff mark was way, way lower than mine. And only because she was from an educationally disadvantaged state. So they are giving her medicine. And me, because I'm from the state, but my cutoff mark is just 1 mark away. I got angry and I dropped the paper that I'm not going. So that was what led me later on to go to say I want to read electrical in Yaba Tech. And then you see, for me, because the purpose in my life was I want to become a medical doctor, so I find that I still carry that passion. A doctor, a medical doctor is one person that want to save life, want to ensure that, okay, you resolve very complex problems. So I carry that passion into what I do today. I still see it. At a point, there were customers that were calling me doctor, doctor Microsoft, doctor, but it was funny that this was a passion that I had, a purpose I wanted to do in life. So when you're building a career goals early in life, ensure that it is something that is relevant to your life purpose, and also make it timely. That is, you put a timing to it. You should have a start and a target day, because that will create a sense of urgency. You will not just relax away and say, oh, I have these goals, and you are not serious about it. And the other part of it is that you want to do evaluate and reevaluate it at every point in time. And so moving on, I know I've moved past time. I'm actually looking at it to see. But I want to believe that this topic is actually very interesting. I just hope I'm not the one saying it. So being specific, the things you do, you want to know whether you are the only one involved. Hello, is someone trying to say something?
I think we're enjoying it, man.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's great. So let's look at what you are to do when you're building a career goal and you want to be specific about it. First thing you want to ask yourself is, who is involved in this goal? Am I the only one involved, or do I have other parties that will help me with this? And then, what do I want to accomplish? Where is this goal to be achieved? What do I want to achieve in this goal, and why do I want to achieve? So those are the things you need to. Today, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing M365? Why am I in modern workplace? What do I want to become at the end of the day? Modern workplace, M365 has a lot of career opportunities in it. Which one am I actually focusing on? Those are the questions you want to ask yourself. And then, what do I need to do to achieve? If I say I want to be just a SharePoint administrator, and not just a SharePoint, I want to move to the expert level that wake me up from sleep. I am eating SharePoint online. I am eating SharePoint server. Anybody, there is any complex problem, I'm the one they are looking for. Then you are asking yourself, how do I, who is involved? What do I need to do to be able to become that? So this is what being specific means. Then the next stage will be what? Measurable. We talked about it. How many or how much can I take to do it? Then you ask yourself, am I reaching my goal? What is the indicator of my progress? So you can actually build a personal KPI for yourself. And when I mean KPI, I'm talking about key performance indicator, to say, oh, I said to myself, these are the metrics I want to use to measure myself today. And believe me, I use this thing on a yearly basis. The framework, the SMART framework is not for a beginner, it's not for an intermediate, it's not for an expert. It is all round through your career journey that you are using it, with also the SWOT analysis. Now, the third thing you want to do is on the achieve stage, that you want to ask yourself, do I have all of the resources and capability to achieve that goal? So let's assume I do not have the know-how to be a SharePoint developer, but I'm somebody that has passion to designing websites. I have passion to create website, design websites, give a collaborative space for people to work. Do I have the resources? If I do not have the resources, then I start drawing to myself, which will take us later to SWOT. You will appreciate all of these things I'm breaking down when we talk about SWOT, to say, oh, how do I get what is missing? Do I need to join a group, which you have already done right now, a study group, to see, oh, what knowledge am I missing that I can get to achieve it? And then you ask yourself, I've always done this successfully, which a lot of us here on the call are a testament for you to say, yes, they're doing great, so I think I can do great also. And then the next thing is to see what? To be realistic. Is this goal realistic and within reach? Is the goal reachable within a period of time? And then are you able to what? To commit to achieving the goal? This talks about commitment. This talks about intentionality. This talks about dedication. This talks about painful sacrifices. You read overnight. In those days, my dear, I sleep by 4 o'clock and I'm going to work by 8 o'clock. You will read. I give myself a target that at least in every quarter I had do at least one exam. And I do exam in such a way that I will do one from 10 to 12, another one from 12 to 2, you know. So even pushing yourself, because you're building what? You're building a career for yourself. You're trying to go the ladder. And then when you have gotten to that ladder, you can actually breathe and just look at your work and be smiling. But like I said, a lot of us don't want to do that these days. Now, timely, do you have a deadline? Put a deadline to it. Like I said, for me, I'm not just of the school of thought that anytime I have an achievement with certification, I post it on LinkedIn. But at least in every quarter, I must write an exam. I must keep up to date. I must see something to write on. So by then you know, you are able to put yourself to the task to see how you can achieve your goal. So talking about this, what is actually the differentiating factor? One, you have to come up with a methodology. You have to come up with what? A process, a strategy. And then I cannot overemphasize the intentionality. And then most time is what? You review your goal from time to time. So with that said, I'm just going to run through the last two things. That yes, MJ, I know what you have said about the SMART framework. My goal that I'm setting must be specific. The goal that I'm setting must be measurable. Yes, I understand all of that. It must be achievable. Yes, I get a good picture about it now. It must be realistic, even though I was thinking it was not. I mean, maybe I was thinking of something that is over the moon. Now I am being focused right now. I understand it. And then it must be what? It must be timely. I understand all of that. But then, MJ, that's the question you will ask me. How do I really plan this towards myself? Really, really, that I can match it up or be able to what's that metrics, or what's that framework I can use to understand where my strength really lies and what are my weaknesses and what are my opportunities and the threats that are facing me in all of these. This is what now takes me to me talking to you about the SWOT analysis. Normally, I do this kind of training for more than a day, you know, because of the short. I don't want you to be overwhelmed, but unfortunately, this window is what I really have. That's why I have to bring all of them together. But please, if you are choked, please, I'm so sorry. You can ask your question later on. I will make sure as much as possible, but it is not much. I'll just run through this. So what is the SWOT analysis? The SWOT analysis stands for your strengths, for your weaknesses, the opportunities that you have around you, and the threats that poses against whatever career goals you are trying to project. So it offers you an objective look at how you fit in a competitive landscape and in the market space. That is what it is all about. So what your SWOT analysis also consider is all factors, whether they are positive, whether they are negative, or they are external or internal. That's what the SWOT analysis covers. Now, internal factors are elements introduced by those within the situation or your team or anybody around you. And you call those things as what? Your strengths, your weaknesses. Your external factors are those things that are outside force, and they include the opportunities out there, the threats that can be against what you are actually trying also to do. And so let's look at this real quick. Now, the intent actually of the SWOT analysis is to review your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats around you. And then you can now be equipped with a technique that can clarify your approach. The word there is approach to the variety of professional challenges by listing all the pros and cons of a particular situation. And I use this almost every time. You cannot outgrow both the SMART and the SWOT analysis as long as you have a career growth or throughout your career journey. These two must go hand in hand every time. The result is that with this framework, you can actually make informed decisions to develop a career strategy that fits in into your skills, which is very important because you have to also understand the God-given skills or ability that God has given you and the experiences as you go through your career journey. How to use it. So the SWOT analysis focuses on the internal and external environment. You examine your strengths and weaknesses in the internal environment and opportunities and threats in the external environment. So let's talk about what your strength can be. So your strength can be your skills, it can be your qualifications, it can be your abilities, it can also be your work experience. So things to consider when you're looking at your strength. And as I'm saying this, please, I would want each of us to have like a piece of paper, and then you divide it into 4 places, and you put one part of it strength, the other part weakness, another part opportunities, and the another part traits. So as I'm explaining it, you can decide to say, oh, I think I identify what my strengths are. I think I identify what my weaknesses. So with those weaknesses, you can see how you can convert those weaknesses to be strength for yourself at the end of the day. And then also convert the opportunities out there for your own advantage. So talking about strength, things for you to consider are, what are your strengths in your current role? What other strengths do you have? Are you someone, apart from probably being a messaging administrator, but you have very good skills around presentation? You have very good skills about leadership. So you look at all of those things that are strengths, apart from probably maybe the qualification you have or the exams that you have done. So you put all of those things by you start to, or are you someone that is very passionate about things, you don't easily give up? It is the strength. So you put it there also. What advantages do you have that others do not have? I've mentioned degree certifications. And then are you such that have very good connection? You know the Baba Saleh in somewhere, okay, that can be to your own advantage? You can put it. Then look at your knowledge, skills, and ability in all areas. Things like what, like I've said, your leadership skills, your presentation skills, your people management skill. So if this people management skill I have, then that translates that in the future, I'm looking at a place where I can project my career journey to be somewhere in a leadership position. You know, those are strengths you need to put for yourself. Then you look at your weaknesses. It is also saying internal. Weaknesses is where could you improve performance or situation? Are you completely confident in your qualifications? Which means I usually do this in a yearly basis. If I look at maybe a topic that I've known today, I'm very good today in Intune, and then I said, is that all to know about Intune? Is there something else I can know? Maybe I can use Windows Intune to do mobile device management and mobile application, but I see a gap with doing autopiloting and or with co-management or Intune with co-management. I identify that part of weakness and I start saying, oh, okay, I'm not confidently sure that I can handle a project that is with Intune and then SCCM, maybe making it in co-management. So I need to start improving. So you are looking at where you have gaps. And then you're looking at probably maybe it is a training or education you need to augment your skills. So what tasks do you tend to avoid because you're not confident? Those are things you want to be open to yourself about. So things you need to consider from a personal, internal, or external perspective. Do people see weaknesses that you don't see? Do your colleagues or co-workers consistently outperform you in key areas? And the truth about it, you need to be realistic because it is best for you to face any unpleasant truths as soon as possible. Now, talking about opportunities, these two are opportunities and threats. They are external. Opportunities are external factors that can improve your situation. So you're looking at maybe the market trends. There are a lot of people today, they are collecting more what? modern workplace engineer because of the move to the cloud. So there is a lot of market opportunities for it. Because of the JAPA situation in Nigeria, there's a lot of opportunities now for people looking for very good skills. So what are the opportunities in the market for me? So what do I need? So when you identify the opportunities, you go back to your weaknesses. Okay, so this opportunity is there in the market, but is there a weakness that is preventing me from tapping into this opportunity? Probably I don't have the right skills. Probably I do not have the qualification, the certification that I need to be able to grab the market opportunity for me to be positioned in a very good company where I can get good skill. So you go back to it and work on it. Then the other thing, the last one would be on threats. So you consider external factors that put you at a disadvantage. Threats can include industry restriction, potential competition. Again, I used to put threats at lack of the right skills. Put it there. You do not have it. So it is about being honest with yourself so that at the end of the day, you can now position yourself very well. And so I will leave you with this, creating a personal SWOT analysis for your career. So I want to believe that with all of the things that I've said, you can come up with something that looks more like this, like an internal SWOT analysis, or an internal analysis around your strengths and weaknesses. You can come up with something that looks like this. That is things like education, work experience is a strength for you, goals or successful networking, which you're already doing, interaction with professional organization is your strength, personal characteristics like strong work ethics, self-discipline, ability to work under pressure. Those are strengths for you. Then your weaknesses, probably you don't have the work experience, you have you have a low GPA, you have a wrong major, you're in the wrong major, lack of goals, even self-discipline is a weakness. So you want to look at all of that. And then lastly, the external, the opportunities that comes before you, and then the traits. So I believe that at the end of this, you will come up with all of this. So this is like an example of one of my mentees. This is what she came up with. You know, anytime I'm doing mentorship for people, I go through first. When they tell me they want to do career, this is what I go through for them. So this is an example from her. She has, as today, she's actually doing very well. She's actually working in Microsoft. She's doing fantastically well, you know, in the industry. So, and a lot of them as strengths, a team player, leadership, time management, clear communication. But you look at our weaknesses. Oh, I do not know how to speak. So we identify that weakness and we start working towards it. What is it about public speaking you are afraid of? And today she's even writing in the tech community. She is speaking. She's organizing an event that is global, a global event. You know, so you identify those weaknesses. Oh, my weakness is that I cannot face people, I cannot talk. Then you start going online, or you meet people that are senior in the industry to say, please help me. How do I overcome this? How do I overcome my presentation skills? How do I build a very good presentation skill? She look at a weakness of imposter syndrome, which a lot of us have, lack of confidence. Then she looks at the opportunity in the market, leadership program in the school, networking as a result of being a student ambassador. Now she has threats. Sometimes your threats can repeat themselves in weaknesses. No problem. You just make sure that you identify it. And then, like I said, the SWOT analysis is helping you at the end of the day to make an informed decision. And that is what, if you need to do that for your career growth, ensure you do it. So this is what I ask you to do. And the takeaway from this session, because I know I've taken a lot of your time, identify your goals. One, understand your goals, come up with a system, come up with a strategy, set up a career achievable goal, seek out learning opportunities, share your ambitions. And that's what I call maybe you want to be sure, but share your ambition as much as you are led by this spirit of God. Don't just go ahead sharing your ambition with people. Connect with a mentor. Look for someone in the industry. Please reach out to them, not on a financial ground alone. Please, I want you to mentor me. I'm not asking you for money. I just want you to mentor me. Mentor me to be, this is my career. I've mentored people that are not developers. I've mentored people that are not specifically on the modern workplace. That's it. It is only you looking for people that you can trust and then let them mentor you. Have an accountability partner. That's one of the things, again, I will say. If you are working in a place, look for somebody that you can trust and say, see, Benga, I want to write this exam from by March. I want to write these two exams. So that person, and then tell that person, what I want you to do for me is to be on my toe and ask me, MJ, how are you going with your words, with your plan of writing those exams? So you have an accountability partner you can. Then also become a negotiator. A lot of us, I used to say to people, they think that when you talk about having a good negotiating skills, it is only about being able to negotiate in an interview stage to say, I'm going to pay you 200. I mean, you're asking for 200 as a salary. The person is saying, no, I can only afford 150. No, bring it to 180. And then maybe finally they say 180. Oh, that makes you a very good negotiator. No, it doesn't, that's not all. The truth about being a good negotiator is when you negotiate your way through success, you are in a place of work and activities are going on, and probably maybe people is not taking note of maybe your skills or what you have. You can go meet up your boss. Sir, is there any part of this you want me to take up? There are some of us, we feel that since they didn't assign it to me, what's my business? I'll tell you a short story. I know we have passed behind time. There is this one of my colleague then. When there is a time for project and I assign everybody to projects, I've forgotten about her. I won't assign her to a project. Not intentionally, but sometimes it's just maybe because she's a female and just look and say, okay, I give. The next thing I'll see this lady just come into the 10th floor of our office. And I say, MJ, what have I done? With tears on her eyes, I'm wondering, what have you done? Nothing. I mean, what cracking my brain that what have I done? What did I say anything wrong? Why did you give everybody project that you did not give me? But do you know what she succeeded in doing? She actually succeeded in making me to know that I want to be relevant. She negotiated herself through success. Today, she is a subject matter expert. She is out of the country. She's leading very good, having very good pay. But you see, the experiences she gained in all of those projects. But sometimes we become too lazy. We say no, and they didn't call me into the project now. So what's my business? I'm not going to be that. The only thing you think become a good negotiation is thinking about maybe when I am being negotiating for salary. No, become a good negotiator by negotiating yourself your way to success, and then ask for feedback. Ask for feedback. Let people be able to tell you when you're not doing the right thing. Tell them to assess you. When you do a presentation, go meet people. Please, can you assess my presentation? What was it that I need to improve on? Those are things that, because they say feedback is the food for champions, and you want to be one. So you want to do that. And finally, identify and pursue a career path. Build knowledge or skills around new workloads or targeted job role. Attempt, I'm going to give you this, what I do every year, attempt at least an exam in each quarter. Thank you all for listening. I hope I've not taken so much of your time. Please pardon me. I know I have. And then finally, you have these resources for you to learn from. So thank you all for listening. And then over to you, Joshua.
Thank you so much, MJ. Guys, I told you. It's as if she should not stop, right? I know that feeling. Thank you so much, MJ, for the wonderful session. Thank you for the motherly advice. Thank you for everything. Guys, I believe you had a great time. You learned a lot. Specifically, I loved mail flow to the extent that even yesterday someone reached out to me about emails being deleted. I was like, from sleep, I could everything MJ said, like I could wake up from my sleep and then talk about a lot of things. So guys, identify your area of interest, and then like she said, also try to write an exams every quarter. And also get a mentor. It's so important. I had a mentor. I have a mentor. I still have mentors. Like every one of us, we are also growing. And then yeah, have a mentor. Have a mentor. It's so important. Thank you so much, MJ. Thank you guys for listening. I know we are all eager to ask questions, to talk, right? So just before you ask your questions, I would like to quickly introduce some of our leaders here. Like you already know, MJ is our mama. She's the organizer of this event. Without her, yeah, this event wouldn't have been a success. Yeah, so thank you, MJ. And then DG. DG is our community career advisor. Thank you, DG, for the wonderful session too. And then I also like to recognize Yore, the website manager for the community MCT community, M365 MCT community. She's also here. Thank you for being here. Adikunle, the communications and media coordinator. Thank you so much. And then Solomon Jeremiah, the training coordinator. Guys, without him, this training, this session won't be possible. So thank you for being here, Jeremiah Solomon. And then to the lead program coordinator, Emmanuel Itoje is also here, the main, the coordinator of this program. Thank you for for um, for everything you guys have put together and having everyone here. Thank you guys. So it's now time for a question and answer, right? Um, Let me quickly share my screen. So it's time for the Q&A session, right? So I had to introduce all these community leaders, right? Damilola is also here, the volunteer coordinator. And then we also have Adekunle here. I've mentioned Adekunle. Yeah, thank you guys. I had to introduce them because they are here to answer questions, right? So it's time for question and answer. So guys, please raise up your hands, and then I would let us know when we can ask questions. So we have Mike Udo. Yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good evening, Michael. Mike.
Okay. It's a wonderful presentation by the speakers, but I have a little question, and it's regarding the certification pathway for Microsoft certification pathway. Actually, I'm interested in cyber security, maybe in Microsoft aspect of this. But I want to ask, like Cisco, I know of, they have NetaCard, like an academy that you enroll to get certified. And some schools or some training institutes that have that, you could be able to have hands on the lab experience, the practical experience before the main certification. Because I know there are speakers buttress on getting certification. I think over the years I've had some person that they will just use the dummies and get certified, but the main practical experience they don't have. So I don't know. For Microsoft, do they have a kind of an institute or a platform that maybe some organization have that aside the certification training, like a certification exam that you write maybe with dummies, you can do the live practicals. So that when you go out there, you not just have the certification, which is what will recognize you, the people who know that you are an authority on that field. But the practical part of it, you are not there because you were using dummies. I don't know whether you understand the question I'm trying to say here.
Yes, thank you very much, Mike, for that wonderful session, right? So I would like to call on Emmanuel today to answer this. Thank you.
Hello, Mike. Great question that you asked there. So, basically, Microsoft has what we call Microsoft Lane, So the Microsoft Lane is actually like a Microsoft University where you have all Microsoft resources for the certifications exams. And people use domain fine, yes, but if they go out there, are they able to do the job? So you're actually responsible for what you're doing. And Microsoft actually has a collaboration space with GitHub. For every Microsoft certification exams, the labs are available on the GitHub. Like to practice for all the certifications, the labs are actually available. So people using domain to pass exams and people actually going through the stress of using the Microsoft Lane to learn the technology and also using the GitHub to do the labs. So that's actually a different thing. So the resources is available, the materials are available for you. I hope that answer your question, Mike.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Solomon, Adekunle, MJ, or anybody wants to add?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Emmanuel. Sorry, that was a very fantastic question. And then I also pasted in the what they call it, in the chat window, some of the things you can actually look at, like I said. So if you go to Microsoft Learn, I'm actually looking for there is actually an academy. So to buttress on what Emmanuel have said, last week we showed you how you can have your own M365 tenants, the developers tenants. So now when you combine that with the what you have in Learn, I'm actually trying to open my Learn, and then if someone has that already open, if somebody can also show him, okay, I think I have it. If someone can actually show you, just 1 minute, let me just. So this, if you can see my screen, this is the Learn environment that Emmanuel just talked about. So this is where you can browse certification by role, and for you, if you say you want to be security engineer, Microsoft, you see that this is the role, each of the roles, and if you select to go for a Microsoft security engineer, I hope this works out. My internet is a pretty bit slow. Now you are going to see all of the course materials around this for you to be able to study, and probably maybe even the exams that you can do. Now, if you look at these exams, these are, because when you come to security, cyber security, there are two types. You have the one on Azure, and then you have the one on the M365, but all of them still falls under security. But I'll say that you can do way to learn both. So you can see everything under security, and this is where it starts from. These are the security exam. You have SC5900. This is more if you want to do Microsoft security, cyber security. These are the cyber security. So you start from SC900, SC100, 200, 300, 400. So if you click on each of these, you can look for the, like he said, when Deji was talking, you have the fundamental exam, you have these are also rule based, and under the rule based, you have both associate, expert, and you have the specialization level. So when you're talking about cyber security itself, just come here. So you start with the SC900, the SC100, and all of that. And when you click on each of them, you can see all of the courses there. And then you can go through all of these courses. You can even do what? Track your own. So when you go through this course, and I like the fact that you said it is not enough for one to say you go and read dumps. Don't go read dumps. There are exams. I normally like to participate in beta exams. And you know why I like to do beta exam? Because beta exams do not have any dumps available. And I've done a couple of beta exams, especially the fundamental exams. I do all my fundamental exam with beta exams and I pass. So what that gives you is that you are not relying on dumps. So it actually stretches you to say, oh, without the dumps, I can pass. So you use this, and then couple with the developers accounts that we say you can have, you can use it to set your lab. You will use that to set your lab. Beyond this, there is a program that is going on. We will share it with you in the group. There is a program that is going on for Nigeria than Microsoft in partnership with the federal government, where you have whatever course you actually want to read, you have that, and they have exams, vouchers that they are giving out to you, like I said. So you have that opportunity.
Please,
it's the
please share the
Yes, we're going to share it with you. The knowledge base is massive for Microsoft. I used to tell people that one thing that I can never take away from Microsoft is that the accessibility of knowledge materials. It is everywhere. Just Google and just say Microsoft cybersecurity, you will see all of the thing. It will come out to. So you actually have a learning path you can go through. You can go through the fundamentals, and then before you come to SC100, and then you look at the part, and then you have your exam. And so that is something you can. I hope this answers your question.